And there she goes again today on Heart and Hustle 402. We're going to be talking about HR and really, what the freak is it anymore? Is it just people or is it just...
It depends on the company. It depends on the organization. Yeah. It depends on a lot of things what HR is.
Yeah. All I know is never get reported to HR. I guess I did, but look what happened to us. Podcast coming soon. 1 second. Roll the intro. So the big question is this. How are leaders like you that recognize people and technology are the backbone of the company they're building continue to make progress when they have no clear idea on how to develop individuals and utilize technology in a way that helps them remain profitable? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. This is Tom and Michaela, and welcome to the Heart and Hustle Podcast. Oh, I'm getting freaking old.
I feel it every day, too.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Heart and Hustle. Today, I'm joined by a wonderful bucket of M&Ms.
We like our M&Ms.
We love M&Ms. This is like what, like
not to be rivaled with Skittles, however. Skittles are the up-and-coming candy around here.
They are up-and-coming, but
who's going to...
It's the dental issues I kind of hang out with sometimes. 2 crowns in a month ain't good.
No, not cool.
This week, freaking ass sucked.
Why?
You know why it sucked.
This week?
Well, last week, whatever week you want to talk about.
That was
the whole Kaseya thing.
Yeah.
In my world.
Well, yeah, that was a big one.
You know, it's funny, 6 months ago, SolarWinds was, the big thing not to talk about. It got hacked and everything else, and everybody in the IT world, everybody jumped ship from SolarWinds. They kind of head over to Kaseya or ConnectWise or, whatever Ninja RMM tools out there. And then all of a sudden, Kaseya gets hacked and everybody's jumping back and forth to Ninja and back and forth to SolarWinds again. And, several months ago, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Ninja was a subject of a hack and their sales guys sent some damning email out and everything. I think it was 2018. I forget the terms, but it's amazing, how these IT providers are most at risk for these agents that are installed everywhere, all over their customers' network. And this time around, Kaseya was a target, and they targeted, a tremendous amount of companies requesting 70 million, 50 million, whatever it is, ransom to get all this stuff, to get all this data in order for everybody to get everything back.
It's tough. You had quite a few customer calls, didn't you?
We did, but obviously we don't use that product. Never did really super care for it myself, but what really sucks is that these providers out there, these IT guys, just use a product, but they don't do their audits. They don't do any quality checks. They have no ability to really understand their client. They use this agent. They bill lots of money and maybe make some money, but at the end of the day, they really don't give a crap.
You think so?
I think so.
That's too bad.
I know so.
I don't feel like that's how you are at all.
No, that's not how we are. There's so much there's so much pause and concern for those clients out there. But today, we're not going to talk about all this IT crap that we have going on Heart and Hustle. That's for a day in the life. Today, we're going to focus on people.
We talk about people a lot on our podcast.
We do talk about people a lot on our podcast.
Yeah.
Specifically the HR side and how HR today is really been into it lately in my frame of thought, in my mind. And, what does HR mean? Like the career of HR, like if you're an HR person, you're going to college for HR and you're going to be what is the degree for HR in college, or is there one?
Yeah, there is. I mean,
what's it called though? Is it a 4-year degree or 2-year degree or like
it's typically a 4-year degree,
6-month degree?
Depends on what college you go to and what they call it and what your focus is. And
I know bookkeepers that are in charge of HR.
In the small to medium-sized businesses, it's the bookkeeper who is typically in charge of HR.
So does that mean it is not important?
I think it's a lower priority for some businesses.
Do you think it's a lower priority for some businesses, or some business owners just don't really give a crap about it, but they know they have to have it?
Yes. But I think there's kind of a lack of understanding of what it is as well. I think a lot of people think it's about compliance and checking the box to make sure you're paying people right, and all these little rules and regulations that the government has for FLSA laws and FMLA and all the acronyms out there. And Sometimes they know the basics, sometimes they don't, but they just want that stuff taken care of.
Yeah.
And their business priorities and making the product they make and selling the products they sell is more important to them than HR, which that's what HR is ultimately, making sure you can do that as effectively and efficiently as possible. But HR doesn't always get that attention and that rap.
So what you're saying is that business owners or people largely don't give a crap about the people they have working there. Typically, they really just kind of care about making sure they're employing them correctly.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think I work with a lot of business owners that do care very much about their people. But
do they though? Do they really actually care?
But I also know that dealing with people day in and day out and the struggles and the difficulties is very wearing. It's exhausting. It's exhausting for business owners. It's the number one issue that they really have to deal with. But it's exhausting. So it's easier to shove everything under the rug and focus on productivity. It's just easier to focus on that because everything surrounding human beings and caring for and motivating and being there for can be exhausting.
I promise you that you are not going to get into trouble. You can say anything you want with total and complete immunity.
Oh, no.
Yeah, come on, anybody.
Yeah, like for me, I mean, I know that you keep us very much in line with what we have to do, but I largely could care less about the paperwork side of things.
Yeah, I know.
I could just really care less about.
I know, and I'm like, we should probably pay attention to this.
I'm really focused on the person, the Brandon, I guess, if you would, or the Ben or the Jason, or what's going on through their minds and their heads and how they feel and what their attitudes are like, and how to make them happy.
But as a business owner, I mean, and I sit in the middle. I sit in the middle because I'm dealing with the people side of things, but I'm also dealing with the business side of things. And that in and of itself is what makes HR very, very, very difficult, is because you have to toe that line of business priorities and people priorities, and they don't always align. And what I see is you care very, very, very much about your people, but the way in which...
Stop. One thing that grates me, not your people. I care very much about the individuals that work with us.
Okay, say it how you want to say it.
And I work for them 100%. So there is no your people.
Okay, say it how you want to say it.
What's the movie called? Your People. What is that movie? Knock on wood. Victoria, you got to find it for me. Your People. Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We'll find it. We'll play the clip or whatever, I'm sure.
I don't believe you people.
Huh? What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Huh?
Okay, let me
Movie reference.
rephrase.
Let's rephrase.
How do you even rephrase that?
They're not your
lost my
people.
train of thought now.
They're
I
not
lost
your-
my train of thought. Okay.
Choo-choo.
So what I see often happen in our world is, as much as you care about the people,
the individuals that work with
that
inside
work
of our
with
organization.
us,
There you go.
you care just as deeply about the clients in which we serve.
Hands down, yeah.
And those
they're
two
people.
worlds don't always line up perfectly. And when they don't line up perfectly, you have this rift, you have this shift, and the people that work with inside of our company don't always understand why you do some of the things that you do.
I think once you understand the individuals that work here and you truly understand the clients that you work with, you're able to kind of create some sort of matchmaking, because you really understand how person A operates and you understand how client A operates, and you really want to make sure that they're connected and that they see each other on the same page. Because oftentimes, I can't, oh my goodness sakes, there have been multitude of customers, not multitude, maybe a handful, maybe, okay, less than two, that just really hate me. They hate me as a human being.
Some of them do.
They really do. They can't stand me.
Not the clients in and of themselves, but people that work for those clients.
That is correct. But the most of the complaints that I ever get, if any, is just personality conflicts.
Yes.
Someone does not like somebody else. They made them mad. They said something that really irritated them. In fact, we have an individual now, that, and please don't show his name, but he lives in Utah. He works for us. Let's call him Johnny. Johnny Utah.
Johnny Utah.
Anyways, and oh my goodness sakes, every single law enforcement agency that we work with are absolutely in love with this gentleman. I mean, they love him to death. They can't get enough of him. They're asking him to come move to Nebraska to work with them. And then on the same aspect, same day, hours later, complaint from nonprofit B because what he said may have been maybe not the most politically correct thing to say.
Yes.
So how do you deal with that? I mean, that's the hard part. That's the human side. And I get it. Guy's funnier than heck, but at the end of the day, it's just because you got to be careful because there's sensitivities over here that you got to be really cautious about.
Well, and I mean, it's that way with every person in every company you deal with. It's not just the Johnny Utahs. It's every person in every company you deal with. And when you're dealing with that day in and day out, employers just get tired, man. Mm-hmm. They just get tired and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to deal with it. They've got 52 fires over here and they don't have time to deal with this stuff. So let's just focus on this and let's just be productive and pump out the work we need to pump out and focus on that.
Sometimes I download pirated music onto my work computer.
Who hasn't? Good. What else?
No, I'd like to hear more about that.
So then how can an employer, let's take, a law firm, it doesn't matter who, but how can the employer say, we're going to give HR to the receptionist or to the bookkeeper or, oftentimes to the CFO, the person that's black and white.
Typically when that is given to those type of people, it's the black and white things, it's the compliance, it's are people being paid correctly, are they getting paid at all, it's the taxes, it's the FMLA, it's all the things that you can check off on a checklist. It's not the big picture of HR and how everything fits together. They try to carry on some of those roles and duties, but it oftentimes doesn't work out very well, and the owner or the CEO ends up back involed at some point. But
oftentimes the owner and the CEO, they can't accomplish those tasks. They're not the ones they can lead. Most CEOs, in my opinion, maybe there's research to back this up, but I think most CEOs inside of these companies come from a sales or marketing background. Oftentimes they're visionaries or thought leaders, but they aren't necessarily always people. I was once told by a very nice person, I adore him to death, remain nameless, but the way that I lead is akin to me driving a 120 mile an hour suck my wake boat full throttle, and I got 120 skiers on the back of me, and 3 minutes later you look back and there's maybe 4 hanging on for dear life.
He nailed that one, didn't he? He nailed that description of how you lead, for sure.
What was the movie? The Great Outdoors. You remember that? The Great Outdoors with John Candy and
yeah.
Suck My Wake. That was the boat.
Yeah, that was funny.
Now, if you meet any friends, bring them back. We'll give them a ride and suck my wake.
John Candy's hanging on for dear life back there.
That was funny.
But you get to those individuals, and I think, I've changed a lot over the years, and I get it, but, you start to really understand people, and they're not check boxes, and it's not about compliance. And I still think in this day and age that most organizations, that's how they view HR.
Yes.
They view it as a necessity. They don't want to have it. Mm-hmm. They have to have it, but they really don't want to pay for it because they think it should be free, or it should be, really easy for the bookkeeper to do, or maybe the CFO to have it on their plate to spend an hour a week on. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that the people in the organization are the ones that drive the organizations. And with all this pandemic crap, may I say that, going around, and kind of coming out of that world of it, there's people that are now demanding, hey, I'm working from home now, I'm not coming back to the office. and you're having an uprising of folks that are really dictating what they're going to be doing and how they're going to be working for these companies and what they will and they won't do. And Mr. and Mrs. Employer can't say, well, you got to come into work or you don't have a job anymore, because they can't find anybody.
Exactly.
In fact, our local Burger King, there'll be a clip here. Victoria, I'm sure she'll find it, but they had it was just on, did you see it?
Yeah,
in
I saw
Havelock?
that. I saw it.
We quit.
Yeah.
Sorry for the
Sorry
inconvenience.
for the inconvenience. We all quit.
We all quit.
Yeah.
It happens. It's real time. Mm-hmm. So, these employers are going to have to adjust. These people that are, kind of ruling from the top down are going to have to adjust how they manage folks and how they work with people from here on out. And the ones that are not happy, they're just going to leave. I think I read in our article today, like 95% of employees, like 95% just want to leave.
That's not good.
No, it's not good at all.
So what are we doing wrong?
What are
what
we
are
doing
employers
wrong?
doing wrong? If 95% of the population, and if that's a true statistic, if 95% of employees want to quit their job, what's going on?
Well, I'm glad you said that, but there's, in my mind, I know I've not shared this with you yet, but I kind of outlined these 7 pieces and these 7 parts of what is going on.
What is going on?
And how I think companies are going to have to really address it and fix it.
I'm excited to talk about that.
I know you are. I am excited too, because even in our company, we feel like we're always bending. We're always trying to make people happy and do certain things, but really we're not. We're just all human, and we're all after the same thing.
What was that quote you read the other day that we both really loved? We're all reading from the same book. We're just not always on the same page, or something like that.
Yeah, what was that? I'll find it.
Yeah, something like that.
I'll throw the quote up here or whatever it is.
Something like
Where
that.
was it? Was that TikTok or?
Probably. Probably TikTok.
Yeah.
Your main form of entertainment anymore. That
Second
Yahoo
form.
News.
Yeah, there you go. Yahoo News. There you go.
Okay. Well, yeah, it'll be fun to talk about that. I think there is a lot to talk about when it comes to HR and what HR is and what it should be and how it's evolving, if it is evolving. I don't think it's evolving as rapidly as it should be, but often in especially in small to medium-sized businesses, it seems that HR is the place where everything gets dumped because HR can do it. HR can fill this form out. HR can do this. HR can do that. And it seems like it's the crap work that nobody else wants half the time.
Yeah.
And then they end up so overwhelmed and bogged down with compliance and paperwork and just baloney.
Look at your
stuff
job
that they
right here
have to
for
deal
our little
with.
small company. You spend a tremendous amount of time in HR-related duties,
I
even
do.
inside our companies.
It's ridiculous. I'm like so busy doing nothing, I feel like sometimes.
Well, you're doing something.
I'm doing something, but I feel like I'm not accomplishing what I desire to accomplish because I'm dealing with check boxes all the time. So,
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah. So, yeah, I feel like we have a lot to talk about in your little 7-part series, whatever that may be, I'm really looking forward to it. So,
Yeah, me too. So, several years ago, I thought HR was like about creating drama. We sat through many, many, many HR meetings together. Well, I was in attendance, I guess. I was a spectator.
you're a bystander.
Yeah, you were definitely in the middle of it, but the amount of drama that you went through. People were, you bring a box of tissues every day and everybody comes out crying. Remember those days?
I do remember those days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They sucked.
They did. And, even some of the stuff we have to deal with the clients that we're working with now, sometimes internally. It's hard. It's like any other relationship out there. It's like a marriage. It's like a parent-sibling relationship. It's like a brother-sister relationship. Relationships are not easy. And when you're spending 8 to 10 hours a day with the people that you work with, not easy to deal with day in and day out.
No.
She has given us a lot of wonderful things to think about. Right, what is wrong, who's to say, really, in the end? Because it is unknowable. But let's give her a round of applause.
So
Very difficult. I don't know. I'm anxious to get this rolling. We're going to have the 7-part series. Today's kind of the intro to that. Next podcast, we're going to start jumping kind of in the core of it. I'm hoping to really kind of dive into this thing pretty deep.
Yeah, you're kind of scaring me.
I know I am. And you probably need to share with you what I was thinking about
Probably
too.
might want to give me a heads up.
It's really kind of doing it. So anyhow, thanks for joining everybody. And I guess hit us up with any questions on social media at Heart and Hustle 402 on Facebook, Instagram, obviously myself and Michaela on our other channels as well. So talk to you later. And if you need to, grab a bucket of M&Ms. They're always good. Talk to you later. Bye.